Be sure to follow Godzilla ID on Letterboxd. And if you don't, I will shove a tree down your throat. Anyways, enjoy the video.
Hello my fellow kaiju fans, I'm Godzilla Gaiji, and welcome back to the Triple G cast. And Merry Christmas everyone! It's Christmas time now, aka my favorite time of the year, and I am very sorry, but I could not find anything Christmassy related to do for a video. Like, I couldn't find a movie or a show that had like something to do with Christmas and that would actually fit on the series. You know, the kind of movies and shows that I talk about. Sadly, I couldn't find any, but I hope this is a decent replacement for it. Also, this will be my last video of 2021, but don't worry, I do plan to release a video in January of 2022, and I think you guys will enjoy that one. Also, do you guys like my Christmas hat? You know, the Santa hat? Trust me, like the Halloween mask in October, this cost me a lot and was very hard to find, so I hope you guys like it. Anyways, today guys, we are continuing the Showa era of Godzilla movies with King Kong vs. Godzilla. Not really much to say here, so I guess we'll just get right into the information about the movie, right after a quick spoiler warning. Like always, I'm pretty sure you all have already watched this, but just in that small case that you haven't, there will be spoilers in this video, so yeah, if you haven't seen it, you know, go and watch it, then come back to the video, all that jazz. Anyways, let's talk some info about the movie itself. So King Kong vs. Godzilla came out in 1962 and is directed by the legend himself, Ishiro Honda. The cast includes Tadao Takashima, Kenji Sahara, Yu Fujiki, Ichiro Arishima, and Akihiko Hirata. Sorry if I butchered any of those names. The movie has a 97-minute runtime, and now for a quick plot synopsis from Letterboxd. Takeo, advertising director of Pacific Pharmaceuticals, is frustrated with the low ratings of their sponsored TV program and seeks a more sensationalist approach. He orders his staff off to Faroe Island, capturing King Kong to exploit for marketing. As Godzilla re-emerges, a media frenzy generates with Takeo looking to capitalize off of the ultimate wrestling match. So, with that out of the way, let's move on to my feelings about the movie. Well, of course, as usual, go through my 5 bullet points of the story, the characters, the kaiju stuff, the music, and finally, the other things I want to talk about. So let's start with the story. And the story in this movie is ridiculous, because, I mean, come on, a company trying to use a 50-meter tall ape just to increase their TV ratings is pretty ridiculous. Like, you need a 50-meter tall monkey to do that? Like, that kind of feels like a bit of an overreaction, but anyways, it is a really ridiculous yet very fun story. Like, it's very straightforward, it's very simple, but it gets the job done. And that's the case for most Godzilla movies, but this one especially. Now, yeah, 99% of the story makes no sense, but in a movie that is this incredibly cheesy and corny and stupid, I don't mind that as much. This isn't Godzilla 1954, where it's actually a surprisingly dark story with a lot of dark themes and stuff like that. No, this is very much just an adventure comedy, and because of that, the story not making a whole lot of sense is completely justifiable. I also really like a lot of the ridiculous moments, like for example how they use this unbreakable wire and sleep juice. Like, those things are both pretty ridiculous, but they actually, I think it's cool that they introduced that earlier in the movie, and then they come back in some super ridiculous ways towards the end of the film. Like, I will never get the image of King Kong being lifted by giant balloons out of my head. That image is living in my head rent-free, and I could not be happier about that. But I do think it is at the very least cool that they actually establish these things earlier in the movie just to use them later. I do think that is kind of neat. So overall, I like the story of King Kong vs. Godzilla because of how stupid it is and how ridiculous it all feels. Because it all works, because it matches the rest of the movie perfectly. This is a ridiculous film, so might as well have a ridiculous plot that doesn't make sense most of the time. But honestly, again, I think that's fine. Also, it paves way to the King Kong vs. Godzilla fight, which makes the ridiculous story very much justifiable and a lot easier to accept. But we'll get to that and talking about the fight scenes later in the video. For now, let's move on to the characters, and I actually enjoyed the characters in this one quite a lot, especially due to the over-the-top acting in this movie. First of all, I really liked Osamus, and his camaraderie with both of his two best friends was really good. They were really fun to watch on screen together, especially when they're on the island. Like, the chemistry between them is just very, very fun, and it makes all the scenes with the human characters, especially the ones I already mentioned, a lot more bearable. You know, it doesn't always need to be kaiju fighting, you know. And also, one thing that this movie does very well, and shows very well, is that you don't need super deep or complex characters. Like, not every character in the Godzilla series needs to be like Dr. Sarasawa. But they can still be fun and entertaining in their own way, despite not being too deep or complex. And I think this movie shows that beautifully. I really enjoy the characters in this film. Especially some scenes with them, like the dinner scene with Osama and his sister and his friend. Where, you know, his friend is using the wire to hang off the balcony and stuff like that. That's just a really funny scene, and it makes it good because you actually believe that these two are actually friends. And the over-the-top acting, again, makes this really good. And I think, yeah, it just makes the scenes, a lot of the scenes with the humans, so much more fun, like that dinner scene. Like, those scenes could have just so easily just been the scene where they just sit and talk to each other, like, with a lot of exposition. But it isn't that. It is actually fun banter, and I really enjoy it. Also, let's talk about, by far, the best character in this movie. Takeo. Or Taco? I don't really know how you say his name. The TV manager. The guy, the leader person. Yeah, whatever. He is easily my favorite character in this movie. Because of the super over-the-top acting of the actor. Seriously, it is just fantastic how over-the-top and cheesy it is. And how his character is just like, he can just shift moods completely. Like, one scene he will be like screaming at the two main characters, like in an angry fashion. And then the next scene, he'll be like super pumped and excited and just happy or jolly. And it's like, it's just so much fun to watch him. And he definitely has some of the funniest scenes in the film. And again, the acting here, it might be over the top, it might be overacting, but it really works. It makes it so much fun to watch these characters. Again, especially Takeo, or Taco, or whatever. So yeah, he's easily my favorite character in the movie. Now, the other characters that I haven't already mentioned were fine. And someone like Osamu's sister actually had some fun moments, but for the most part they were just kind of okay. But the main characters are great and are really fun to watch, and that's really the most important thing. So overall, I really enjoy the characters here. Are they deep or complex? Not really. Are they super entertaining to watch though? Absolutely, and they make the scenes with them a lot more bearable than a lot of other human scenes in these Godzilla movies are. However, now let's talk about the fight scenes, because now we're talking about the kaiju stuff. And like I've mentioned before, I love both Godzilla's and Kong's suits in this movie, because of how ridiculous they look. Like, Godzilla looks mostly cute here, while King Kong just looks derpy as hell, and I just absolutely love it. Again, the suits here match the movie's style and its tone, so I have no idea, and I have no problem with their suits looking as sort of cheap and ridiculous as they do. So overall, like I mentioned before, I really like them. And like I mentioned, this version of Godzilla is probably one of the cutest we've had, despite him being a bad guy, but that personally works for me. And Kong looks derpy as hell, like I said, so both of them, they get a pass in my book. And of course, then there is the final fight, which I mentioned earlier. And it might be the best fight scene in the entire Godzilla franchise. Now, is it the best one in terms of production value and how it actually looks? No, absolutely not. It is ridiculous and very cheap looking at points, but oh my god, it is hella fun. It is so entertaining. Especially, here are some highlights. Especially the parts with Godzilla clapping, the stop motion Godzilla kick, which just kind of comes out of nowhere and it's really weird, but you know, it's kind of fun at the same time. Kong forcing a tree down Godzilla's throat is of course a classic moment that shall go down in history. And the parts where they're just blatantly using action figures and just like using them, just like punching them together behind the trees, that is just, yeah, it's really dumb and cheap looking, but like, it's so fun. Like, come on, this movie's just so fun. And of course, you know, there's also actually a great shot of the two of them destroying the temple thing, which I actually think is genuinely really good cinematography. I actually really like that shot in particular. And it's become pretty iconic, which is for a very good reason, because it looks really cool. Overall though, this fight scene is just excellent. I don't know if it's quite the best in the franchise, but it's definitely high up there, definitely in my top 3. So overall, that fight scene is awesome. Oh, and there's also the giant octopus. Yeah. He just kind of shows up. He kind of just does that sometimes in a couple of kaiju movies. I already mentioned that in my World of Gargantuous video, but yeah, the giant octopus is here. Well, I mean, it's cool that they used actual real-life octopuses and that one of them got eaten by the crew. That's interesting trivia, but like, yeah, the giant octopus is there. Whatever. And now let's move on to the next bullet point, which is the music. And this movie has some of the best music in the Godzilla franchise, I'm telling you right now. I especially like the ones where they have the added addition of the islanders like chanting and singing in the background. That really gives the music in this movie a distinct style and a distinct personality and identity from most other Godzilla soundtracks, and I really like that. And then of course the main theme is one of the best main themes in the entire series, if not my favorite one actually. It is actually really epic sounding. I really like how they included the Godzilla theme in there as well, and I really wish they would have done what Godzilla King of the Monsters did for a lot of the classic songs, and that they would have remastered it in Godzilla vs. Kong. Like, do what Bear McCreary did in Godzilla King of the Monsters and give us a remake of this main theme. That would have been so awesome. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Overall, this movie has fantastic music. And I'm actually happy that I finally have something to say about the music in one of these Triple G cast videos. Because I feel like I haven't really talked a lot about the music in these videos so far. So yeah, that's really fun. And now, finally, for the other things I want to talk about. And the one thing that should be addressed is the racist stuff at the island. Yeah, it's really problematic and it's really not a good look. But we also have to remember that this movie was made in the 60s and that it was a different time, so that does explain it. I'm not saying that it's okay. Not at all. It is very not a good representation at all, and it's not okay whatsoever. But again, this movie was made in the 60s, so we don't have to agree with their portrayal of the islanders, but we can at the very least understand why they did it. But overall, yeah, it is really problematic, and obviously if it was made today, it would cause an outrage. So yeah, the racist stuff in this movie it's not good. But now for something a little bit more lighthearted, the movie is actually really funny. Like, both intentionally and unintentionally. And like, this movie is basically a comedy, so it being one of the funniest Godzilla movies makes a lot of sense. And of course, most of the funny stuff is with Toka, because he is just absolutely fantastic. And did I just say Toka? That is not correct, it is Teiko. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, overall, this movie is really funny. Like, I don't really have much more to say, and I can't really think of like, there is one example. When they're on the boat and Teiko has just arrived, and he sees Kong for the first time and he leans on that detonation thing. And when they tell him that that it will detonate bombs and everything, he's like really scared. And then like 5 seconds later, he like unknowingly does the same thing again. And the reaction of the two guys there is just, it's fantastic. Overall, this is a very funny movie. Again, both intentionally and unintentionally. So those were my thoughts on King Kong vs. Godzilla. And overall, it is an extremely fun time. It does have a lot of flaws, and it isn't an objectively great film. However, it is still one of my favorite Godzilla movies ever made, due to how cheesy, over the top, and just ridiculous that it is. And I absolutely love it. Overall, I'm going to give King Kong vs. Godzilla 1962 an 8.5 out of 10. An overall great time. Anyways guys, that was it for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to give it a like, and if you want to tell me what your guys' thoughts on the movie is, or what if you guys agree with me or not, then be sure to comment it down in the comment section below. And of course, if you enjoy my content and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and be sure to also hit that bell for notifications for whenever I upload a new video. Anyways guys, that's it for this video. Merry Christmas everyone, and I'll see you guys in 2022. Bye bye.